Hi, my name's Jeff Price, and I'd like to welcome you to Intentional Musicianship, where we talk about the many things that lead to center stage. And one of those avenues is auditioning for a position in an established organization. I remember being at Northwestern University many years ago in Evanston, Illinois, while I was working on my Master of Music degree. And one of the things that really stood out to me was how present auditions were in our lives. Heck, I even took a class on it by a wonderful professor. His name was Rex Martin, who was a tuba player that had played in many places like the St. Louis Symphony and Chicago Symphony. Now, these auditions, they were encouraged. Classmates were routinely excused from classes to attend auditions. Sometimes auditions were even held right there at the school. Now, not every job came to campus, but many auditions that were local or summer festivals, regional orchestras, short-term appointments, all happened in Evanston. Now, I remember classmates who would take an audition early in the fall trimester. We were on quarters, and then they'd win something, and then I wouldn't see them again. They didn't disappear because something went wrong. They disappeared because the audition worked. They had a job. The education did what it was supposed to do. That experience stayed with me because auditions are important. More than that, the consequences of auditions can change your life. Today, I don't want to talk about how to audition. I can do that in a later podcast. I want to talk about something that often gets skipped. Should you take the audition in the first place? I was thinking about this because, remembering back on that experience, the school was training us to prepare, perform, and be evaluated with auditions for every ensemble and everything like that. Auditions felt familiar because they always followed that same pattern. But here's the thing, auditions aren't school. School delivers education, work delivers a life or a lifestyle. When you win an audition, you're not just earning a position, you're stepping into a set of conditions that shape how you live day to day. For example, where you live, what you earn, your schedule. How flexible is it within each organization? What you can and can't say yes to once you take that position. That's why the question isn't just whether you can win an audition, but whether what that audition delivers actually supports the life you want to build. In school, we're trained to take auditions because they're there for seating placement. It's an opportunity to grow, and you take it. You prepare, you perform, and the assumption is that later on in life, when you win an audition, that's the goal. You have achieved success. There's often an unspoken belief that something magical happens when you win these auditions. But in professional life, there isn't a magical consequence. Winning simply means you now have to live inside what that job actually delivers. Tough problem, right? But that's why adults don't take auditions just because they exist. We take them because we've thought carefully about whether they align with what we actually want our lives to look like. One of the easiest ways to see this is to look at the job postings side by side on like some sort of music audition aggregator site. When you do this, you don't have to apply, you don't have to submit anything, you just read them side by side. You can read multiple instruments to just get the flavor of all the jobs in the marketplace and what people are offering and what you can expect. When you do that, it becomes clear very quickly that jobs which look similar on the surface represent very different lifestyles. Some are short-term, some are long-term, some are meant to be anchors for a career in music. Some assume you're going to have to go and get other jobs and make a portfolio around them to support yourself. All of that information is there in that job posting, but only if you slow down long enough to see it. This matters because the music marketplace is full. There are a lot of amazing musicians and far fewer traditional audition positions than people preparing for them. As a result, many musicians today don't have one job, they have a portfolio. They teach, they freelance, they perform in other places, they have side projects. Sometimes an ensemble position is just a part of that mix. So when a new audition appears, the real question becomes, what percentage of my professional life does this job actually take up? Because once you win, the job doesn't just get added to your life, it reorganizes it. Your schedule changes, flexibility narrows, other work adjusts around the new priority, whether you intend that or not. This is also where we have to be honest about something unglamorous but essential. This is work, and work requires adult math, housing, transportation, food, healthcare, the basic cost of existing where this job is located. Auditions don't deliver abstract success, they deliver a paycheck, a schedule, and a set of constraints, and those constraints become real very quickly. At some point, we have to stop asking whether an audition is impressive and start asking whether it's livable. So when I think about auditions this way, it really comes back to three things. You research the opportunity by reading the post carefully. You look at the season and the structure and the commitments that you'll be involved with. And then you go to the website and you talk to people about the culture of the organization. Then you discern. You work backwards from the win. You imagine your life inside that position, because this is a job. Not the first week, not the first concert, the normal, everyday reality of the position. And only then do you act. Because being qualified for a job and being aligned with a job are not the same thing. Winning the audition doesn't equal success. Living well inside what it delivers does. And remember, every audition has an opportunity cost. Not just financially, but in what else you're not pursuing while you're preparing for it. Jobs are amazing things, but every job has a culture. Every job shapes your life. You're not just being evaluated, you're also gathering information. You're interviewing the job as much as it's interviewing you. And the truth is, there are musicians all over the world making a living doing meaningful work and enjoying their lives in music without the kinds of positions many people are auditioning for. So the question isn't whether auditions matter, they do. The question is whether this audition is worth it for you. Auditions aren't just about playing well, they're about choosing well. Before you invest the time, money, and energy to pursue an opportunity, slow the process down. Do the research, take the time to discern whether it really fits your life. And only then act. Because if you win, you're the one who has to live with the decision. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can always connect with us at intentionalmusicianship.com. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. And I get it, you can't win the audition if you don't take the audition. But better choices tend to come from slowing the process down. Thanks again for listening. I hope you'll join us on the next episode of Intentional Musicianship.